we do have the map Sky Temple, and we do have Complexity in the first pick. So curious to see what they ban here. And wouldn't be too surprised. Oh, an Illidan ban.
They're not going to deal with it. Yeah, they're not going to deal with it this time.
Yeah, it seems like Complexity is a little bit uncomfortable to take that Illidan first pick. It could really open up the draft to abuse them a bit. So they're just saying, hey, we don't want to deal with Illidan, and maybe they're got something kind of up their sleeves.
Gazla. It's going to be a Gazla.
A Gazla. I would bet all the money I have to my name that we will not see a Gazla from Complexity, but we are still waiting on the ban here from Team Acer.
Now, dipping into your pool time for bans, I mean, sometimes we do see that if you're not entirely too sure about, what kind of big strengths your opponents do run. And remember, I mean, this is now an NA team. We don't have a huge amount of experience, I want to say, Team Acer up against an NA region draft. And we have now seen big differences in terms of the regional bans. I mean, Rhaegar, for example, is huge in an NA as a ban. Zagara was actually the ban from Complexity last round. No, that's not right. Or was it? No, they totally did.
Yeah, they did ban Zagara. I thought it was either a team or map specific ban. Zagara can be quite nice on Cursed Hollow, but we are indeed here on Sky Temple, and we actually have a Zeratul ban coming out from Team Acer. Zeratul a little bit more uncommon in NA. We don't have such strong Zeratul players such as Black's Corp, but we do.
God, he's so good.
he's such a god. He is so admired here in North America by even some of the top players in the region. But we do have a Jaina pick coming out from Complexity first.
Not a surprise. I mean, we talked a lot about Jaina, the love that she's gotten in this meta. She has been absolutely huge in a lot of comps. In fact, she's been ban-worthy a few times over the course of this qualifier, let alone this cup. But as that first pick, I want to say it was more EG on the NA side of things that really started running her weeks and weeks ago, but she is really coming to her own.
Yeah, actually another team that really likes Jaina is the Cloud9 Maelstrom team, having K1 Pro as a very, very good Jaina player, and actually really popularized Jaina play in North America. Mm-hmm. But just a little bit of a follow-up to the Zeratul ban. I do know Complexity to have used Zeratul in the past. McIntyre, a pretty good Zeratul player, and Complexity definitely has run Zeratul specifically on this map before. So I don't know if Team Acer has done research into Complexity to make this ban choice, or they're just afraid of running against him.
I bring it up time and again. It's definitely first pick material a lot of the time here in EU. Zagara is going to be the first round picks here for Acer. But once more, we see an early pick, Diablo. We've seen 2 Apocalypse Diablos today. Neither of them have actually really performed as admirably as we might want them to. So I'm going to put a lot of onus on Acer here to actually make me believe in this pick.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that they would ban out Zeratul and then pick a comp like Zagara Diablo.
Right.
Zeratul would be so good for setting up with the Apocalypse. But I honestly think that Complexity is okay with the Diablo Zagara picks, and they're just going to continue with, again, that Tassadar Vala double duo pick there. Just a ton of wave clear, very solid heroes. Vala being still a top tier assassin pick, and Tassadar just being so strong especially on this map with the wave clear, with the healing ward, and even the vision being really, really beneficial. So I really like Complexity's core roster here.
And if we actually do go for another ETC, and I'd have to say that we're shaping up for it for Complexity, we might actually even see that scouting drone once more. It can really do a good number on us on the compact nature between the lanes. You can get a lot of information out of that drone, but we'll have to see what Complexity does end off with their tank. But they do have Acer to contend with, and Tyrande is now going to be joining the fray. So Tyrande, Zagara, Diablo. I mean, we saw the Diablo Tyrande roam from Demaga and crew last game. Didn't really pack the punch they're looking for. We might see it this round, but it depends on what the rest of the picks here are. We still need a mainstay healer. We've been seeing a lot of Malfurion. Are we going to see that lover combo? It will actually be the Rhaegar.
Yeah, kind of an interesting pick on the Rhaegar. I personally would have liked the Uther because of the Wombo possibilities. Obviously, you have that Devouring Maw into Divine Storm and or Tyrande, Lunar Flare. So definitely interesting choice there on the Rhaegar pick. But CompLexity opting to round out their comp again with Uther ETC. So very, very strong comp again for CompLexity. Kind of rotational, but they still have some burst opportunities with that Jaina in there.
Could that actually be an Uther Jaina room?
It's definitely possible. I'm not sure how they'll decide to run it, but they can also tri lane kind of.
Woo!
That.
Oh, yeah, man.
And the Vikings coming out.
Vikings.
Vikings, I feel, is one of the biggest sleeper heroes in the game currently. A lot of people feel that he is the Vikings themselves are absolutely broken, and I feel that this is a Vikings map. I was actually surprised to see that CompLexity didn't opt for some kind of Vikings comp this game, especially with the Illidan ban. That kind of made me a little bit suspicious of a Vikings pick coming later, but it's actually going to be Team Acer that is going to be picking up that Vikings in the last pick.
Well then, did not actually expect to end off today's casting with the Lost Vikings, but as we go into this, Rhaegar is going to be I want to say we're going to see a lightning breath this time. We got the Maw ready to go. We got stuns, and then on the back of a Maw, you got the boat, you got Starfall, and I want to say a lightning breath. I really, really want to see it this round because Diablo in the front with the Rhaegar having the Ancestral ready to go. We got the heals from Tyrande, healing wards and protective shields if we do actually go that route here with Tyrande. That's a really good front line because you have to scatter from the Diablo or you have to focus them down, and if you try to focus them down, we got the heals ready to go.
Yeah, indeed. And I actually kind of like the Rhaegar pick a little bit more now that I feel that Acer's comp is a little bit more sustainy than Wombo combo-y, but the Vikings, I mean, they're certainly going to have a lot of AoE pressure though with the boat and the whatever Diablo picks. It could be a lightning breath game here, but Apocalypse is also a likely pick.
Mm-hmm. Apocalypse into Maw or vice versa has been very popular in the past, but just not seeing it happen, man. Like 2 games now that the Apocalypse has just kind of been lackluster.
Yeah. CompLexity is kind of a tanky team here, especially with that Uther, that Tassadar, that ETC. But Vala and Jaina are going to have to be careful to watch out for Vikings. Vikings actually having surprisingly good damage potency against squishy targets, especially if you can get that triple Q off against a hero like Vala or Jaina. So definitely CompLexity's backline is going to have to be a little bit careful of the Lost Vikings.
Yeah, and the Vikings on Sky Temple will definitely have some advantages. We'll see if CompLexity can deal with them. We're into the lobby, and it looks like we're almost good to go. We are finalizing out the picks. Once more, guys, the last game of today. Tomorrow will be as normal. Semifinals and finals, the double best of 3s to crown the top 2 of this qualifier number 4, and that will be joining teams like Team Tomorrow Big, which is now recently picked up as Navi. Team Liquid picks up El Nexo. They're going to be in the grand finals. Dignitas, SK Gaming, Gamers 2, and Fnatic. I mean, it's basically a who's who of the top EU. Will it be Acer moving on to the semis tomorrow, or will it be CompLexity? We're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen, as Sky Temple is loading up.
Indeed, and get hyped for Vikings, man. I really want to see this hero more often. I feel this is such a strong map for the Vikings, and CompLexity is going to be hard pressed to deal with the possible advantages that the Vikings could bring here.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of advantage. We've seen the Lost Vikings on both sides of the pond. I mean, Fnatic, Shinobu really comes to mind. Cloud9 Maelstrom, I think, is iDream. That really comes to mind here as well. K1 Pro. Yep. Horse Pants, if you go a little bit lower into a bit more of the amateur leagues. Bellamonte. I mean, there's a lot of people that have really popularized Vikings everywhere, really.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, even though they are getting a bit more popular, we still don't have them played as much as I'd like to, but definitely excited to see them come out a little bit more often.
So, will we be seeing a roam from this right-hand side team from Acer? Will it be Nasty and Sheep roaming around? Will it be Zypho here actually splitting up? Right now, he's all together. Green Out is going to be holding down the top, and it looks like Dracair is going to be making his way here to the Watchtower to face off against their opponents.
Yeah, I think we could definitely see a Diablo Toronto roam here from your team. It is such a potent roaming squad that has been used a lot recently, especially but even on teams in NA like Tempo Storm and teams like this. So I would expect to see it from them.
I can't imagine Zypho is going to keep his Vikings here up against Vala. That just doesn't seem like it's going to favor him whatsoever. We do got once more the scouting drone. So the ETC with the scouting drone at level 1. He's going to maybe be holding down middle. I'm not entirely too sure if we're going to see roaming from the CompLexity guys, but we do got Sheep and Nasty ready to go and paired up into this top. They're looking for blinks, but it's really hard to get that early game kill on top of Uther.
Yeah, indeed. Once again, CompLexity up against a team that has a lot of kill potential, so getting that scouting drone a really nice option here to keep an eye on their roaming and rotations. So, and as we see, the scouting drone already coming into play, spotting that gang squad of Diablo and Tyrande from
right.
Acer.
So they actually can't see into that bush with that right there, with that scouting drone. But as you said, it did find Sheep when he did exit it. So we are seeing the Diablo and the Tyrande actually roam around. Fortunately, they're having a heck of a time finding a target. Not only are they not probably going to get this early game Tassadar, they're not going to get the Uther, and that leaves you with Jaina, who's being kind of babysat there by the ETC. So this early game has not really worked out roam-wise.
Yeah, exactly. Like I talked about in the drafting, CompLexity just has really durable heroes that have good escape potential. And they did attempt to go for Uther here, but you know the famous phrase, Uther just kind of gets away, so...
Sunglasses, man.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, we kind of have a passive game here. Both teams opting to just trade those shrines once again, and actually quite a bit of an experience lead going over CompLexity so far.
Yeah, they have, taken down their walls. They have done a little bit of work back and forth. The top gate from CompLexity is actually now dead in the water, and it looks like CompLexity actually has to back off mid, and they had a little bit more damage done to their gate in the mid as well. So overall, the siege damage going to go the way of Acer, but the experience overall, they have been trying their best to deal with the Vikings. The Vikings split immediately when that tempo did spawn up, and that did allow Acer with some, pretty continued aggression on top of those points. McIntyre, for example, in the bottom lane. Val is a big chunk of early game damage for a team. She didn't leave this bottom. In fact, she tried to bully out the Olaf several times, and that's probably where you are going to see a bit more of this experience lead developing.
Yeah, indeed. We do have the experience lead with the Vikings at 3,400 compared to Vala's 2,500 in that second place, but definitely expect to see a lot more Viking splitting coming into play later on in the game too.
The Vikings have 23 hero damage.
23.
That's like an auto attack from Eric. It's a little bit more of a passive game from Zypho so far. He hasn't really branched out into anything as of yet, but this bottom lane is starting to really get taken to town here by CompLexity.
Yeah, indeed. They have those siege giants pushing in, and we have Kianda here trying to shield them as much as possible, and both of the cannon towers now being eliminated from Acer's side of the map there.
Yeah, there goes the bottom gate. Top was already destroyed. You got the Vikings, they're not split. They're not soaking. They're not split soaking, I should say. They are staying rather together. We do have these bruisers now marching down top. Do we have a mule? Once more, we are actually going to have a mule here on Sky Temple, and it's going immediately into the top where those bruisers are headed.
Yeah, indeed. And also Acer opting for the mule as well on that Tyrande, so really liking to see mule on this map. It's such a potent ability, and I feel that any composition you play on this map, you probably should have mule.
Well, Kianda's actually going to be a big target into this bottom lane. With that Tassadar mule, it means he doesn't have the static charge, and that is definitely going to curb his damage a little bit, but I'm not entirely too sure he was thinking of it anyways. He does have the Conjurer's Pursuit, and no Psystorm talents there. Temple is up. We finally did clean up the top. The mule did its work. We got the bruisers to push up the pressure, but this bottom lane has really been taking a beating. Not only is the Temple now hitting it, but Acer and crew were already on it anyways, and this actually could be a fort unless CompLexity does something about it.
Yeah, CompLexity now looking to aggress here a bit with that experience lead. Here they come in here.
Yeah, Sheep is going to try to just get back to the crew with that charge in. It's not really for the damage. It's all about the positioning. Sheep a little bit too low. Green out, however. There goes the Rhaegar. That is not how you want to be starting off a fight. Losing out your healer immediately, but a great pickoff. And that scouting drone, once more, just keeping vision on all of those bushes. Everybody that needs to be tracked is basically being done so. And losing out a Rhaegar that early in a fight, you absolutely do not put up any more resistance. You dissolve, you go back out to soak, and once more you see CompLexity coming out ahead with the experience.
Yeah, unfortunately for Acer, their Rhaegar was a bit out of position there, and he was caught up in the blizzard of Jaina and eliminated quite quickly there. And while this fight was happening in bottom lane, the bruisers of CompLexity were pushing top. But Acer does have that mule to help mitigate any losses there.
Yeah, mules on both sides are going to be working pretty much overtime, as apparently Vala gets caught out here towards the middle fort on the side of Acer. Does look like a fairly hefty collapse, and that's going to actually now put us a little bit more on the defensive, at least for the next 5 seconds or so, as Vala has to get back out onto the map. But when she does emerge, she will have heroics, and there goes the ding.
Yeah, and a bit unfortunate for Acer losing the race to 10 here, especially with those lost Vikings. I feel that they could have done a better job in this game, although the Vikings do have quite a bit of an experience lead compared to the next. 9,900, now hitting 10,000 compared to 6.7k of Vala in second place here.
Their damage is a little lackluster. I mean, I said this a little bit before with that defeat on the Roam. I mean, the Diablo Tirana didn't really find any big targets, and if they're not finding any targets, well, you're sure as heck not going to have any real big targets for the Vikings there as well. So they're literally just there for that passive soak. They do have their 10, and once more, it will be an Apocalypse Diablo. Is there something? Did I miss a memo, Nick?
I mean, Apocalypse is really nice, especially with the Maw, but I mean, people are liking Apocalypse and more nowadays, especially with that reduced cooldown time buff that Blizzard recently added to the game, so I'm not totally against it, but Lightning Breath is also a very good option, in my opinion.
Well, it will be 3 for 3 for today's coverage on the Apocalypse. We do got the Vikings actually now heading down. It is going to be a big collapse. We had a ping into the top lane. I was curious to see if it would be a push for the Temple with that, a push for the fort with the Temple, but it does look like we are actually gearing up for a fight bottom. And once more, we do have Stage Dive in the top. So Erho is just going to be up there looking for that opportunity to jump in while still getting off siege damage and global presence.
Yeah, indeed. And although we have a pick on Trouble here, maybe.
Perhaps, yeah. He does not want to be in that front. Here comes the stage dive. That looked amazing zoomed out, but the shield comes out big for Trouble. It's going to keep him up. Where's the boat? We need that Viking boat. We need that damage coming out. Tyrande does not get the Ancestral. She does go down before it does hit a great maw, but that's leaving now Kianda actually a little bit too far forward. No team support there. Unfortunately, it does not look like any of the CompLexity guys are actually going to go down. I say that, but Erho, wow, we get off the shield and they kill off Eric. There goes Olaf. They log down as well, and they clean up the fight dog on the end of it as well. Just when I thought perhaps it was beef for dinner, they turn it around and once more suffer no casualties this team fight.
Yeah, teammates were getting a little bit overzealous there, trying to pick off the Jaina on the side of CompLexity. Trummel got a little bit out of position there and was picked up by Diablo, but he was able to be saved and Divine shielded, and CompLexity really took it to them and turned that fight. A little bit of out of position there from Sheep. He got picked off quite early in the fight, and then the Ancestral Healing did whiff on, I believe it was Tyrande.
Yeah.
And yeah, CompLexity was able to clean up that fight pretty easily.
It was a pretty good mob from Jakir, but it just came out way too late. There wasn't nearly enough to support it right there. And As we saw, I mean, it was just kills, kills, kills. 4 3/4 going the way of CompLexity. Only the one so far here from Acer. So Acer, they cannot contest the top. They've already lost the bottom. They're going to go for a quick boss snipe. And the positioning is good. We do have a stage dive, though. So Airho can actually stop this out if he's very quick on it. And it doesn't look like it's going to be on the menu.
Yeah, a little bit about sloppiness by CompLexity there to not detect that and punish it. So really nice by Acer to pick that up, though, and take advantage of CompLexity there. But
it would have been a heck of a fight, Nick, because they have 13, whereas Acer doesn't.
Indeed, that would have been a massive throw from Team Acer there if they had decided, well, if CompLexity had responded and dealt with them appropriately. Like you said, CompLexity having that level 13 talent tier, and now Acer just getting to that tier.
Now, we do got the split Vikings a little bit here. They're going to try to do some work in the mid. It's, well, debatable. I mean, they did some damage. Top, however, does have Zypho and Drakir just trying to deal out with these bruisers. I suspect their own bruisers are going to be on the menu, and they are. The big collapse there is the teams are starting to actually just try to stick together as much as they can, and Zypho, he's not entirely too confident about holding down mid as is, but he's trying to get that soak because they need every little bit of experience that they can at this point.
Yeah, and Olaf actually getting picked off here by CompLexity. I would have liked to seen the Vikings split up just a bit more. We do have them in the experience lead, but the margin is not as big as I'd like to see. And we always see Olaf kind of moving around with Eric. I would like to see a lot more splitting up, especially when you're on the back foot here, where you kind of just want to soak experience, clean up the map, and kind of turtle a bit.
Now, split soak, come on back. Split soak, come on back. The boat is a very powerful tool, but you know, as I said, this is the Team Acer comp that needs to really try to convince me that this is going to work, because not only are they playing from behind with the Vikings, but you know, the Apocalypse Diablo has once again not really shown impressive results. And we've had some pretty good Moz in the Starfalls, so I get the Wombo, but I just really need to see it in action if they want to come back into this game.
Yeah, indeed. Pretty much the main combo here is going to be that Devouring Maw into Apocalypse and Tyrande Lunar Flare, but we really haven't seen it executed. It can be quite difficult to set up, but
there's the 16. Yeah, the 16 is a really good timing here. Airho comes on in, and Sheep gets no heal. A fantastic Maw, but once again, no Apocalypse. The Diablo's up. He has it immediately. The shield there on top of McIntyre will keep him up. Kianda does have the Prescience ready to go, and the barrel, not the barrel, the CompLexity boys look like they're going to be okay, at least for now. Kianda's on the retreat, but that's going to be it for Tyrande as well, because she's just left her own devices. McIntyre too far forward is actually going to be the first kill here on CompLexity in a while, but Kianda once more is going to be that slippery Tassadar into the void, and I think we're just looking for the disengage, but in fact it's going to be the turn and burn. They're looking for green out. He doesn't have the Ancestral. He's going to drop, and Sheep is back into this. He has already respawned once, and now he's going to suffer the full death timer, and he has 40 seconds to think about what he just done.
Yeah, indeed. Pretty nice engage and fight there by CompLexity. The only thing I can comment on is that McIntyre probably could have pulled back a little bit and kept himself alive, but not really a huge loss in that. They did win that fight quite handedly, and they're going to be taking double shrines here, Warcourt.
Double shrines, double temples. Yeah, you see the gates are just not holding up to this kind of pressure, and now still a little bit under half, a little bit over half left. That's, well, I'm not saying those are going to be keeps, but they're not going to have any towers defending the keeps by the end of it.
Yeah, indeed. CompLexity just drafted such a solid team comp, and I feel once again that the team comp of Acer just a little bit, you know, shaky, not as good, well coordinated that it could be, and I feel that CompLexity is just playing these heroes to perfection here too.
And there goes the last shot. Airho's now going to get out of dodge with that back, and unfortunately you're going to come up empty on that roam, Acer. So 2 levels, almost 3 levels down. This is not where Acer wants to be sitting on this best of 1 series, because winner goes on. The loser, of course, is out for the qualifying cups until we start cup number 2 coverage. But Arrow's going to come back into the top. He's actually chasing off the opponents because he is looking to delay, because look at the bottom.
Yeah, indeed. CompLexity just going straight for that keep, and Urho doing a really, really good job here delaying not allowing them to get back in time to catch anyone from Complexity. And Complexity, their 4-man squad, are just going to back off here.
It's quite fascinating to see, these rotations coming in and back and forth. Strafe actually going off as soon as that shadow dive had been done there for Shiva. Great maw, catches a whole bunch of. There's the combo. The stuns, it's coming out. Lynx is looking low. He's gonna have to use that shield on himself. Couldn't save out the Vala, but they are gonna pay for it with the Tyrande. The Cigar is now down. Trummo's looking really low. Gets off a clutch heal though from Blinks. There goes the Rhaegar, and Sheep is now down as well. The Viking boat just not able to focus down the targets it needs. Can they take home a kill on top of the Paladin? They cannot, not with that cleanse, and Blinks gets himself into safety. They got finally that big wombo, but it was not enough. The 20s come out. You saw the bolts. Trummo is going to continue on with the 7-man wipe. And now with death timers at 20 seconds and double siege giants pushing this bottom lane, this could be game for Complexity.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, that combo coming together too late for Acer in this game, and being 3 levels down, just not going to be enough damage. The stats are just too big there, and it looks like Complexity wants to finish the game, but they realize the respawn timers are just a bit too low yet, and are smartly going to back off here.
The lack of a Vala in that push really did hurt. So, that kill is a big credit there to Acer because they are still into this for now. Drakir's really looking for this shot on top of Airhill, but what are they going to do up against that battle cow?
Yeah, man. Urho has been running a clinic on ETC. Largely considered to be one of the best warrior players in North America at the moment. And looks like Acer is just going to be going for a YOLO Grave Golem here. The second Grave Golem game, I might add, that they kind of snuck out from under Complexity's nose.
Yeah, but Complexity is going for the bottom temple push. They just cleaned up the mid keep. They're looking for the top. It's not core damage, but this will actually leave us with a naked core, which means that anything continued on in terms of team fights from here is just going to be more to the detriment of Acer, as they're going to have to continually go back to defend that core from catapults and pressure. But Complexity, they're going to look for the win right here. Tyrande once more into the fray, goes down. The Rhaegar heal is on. That 10-second stun. Stuns come out though from the Apocalypse. It's going to be looking for that kill. They don't get it yet again. Blinks playing so well with this heal, but Vala gets a 3-man hit there by Zypho. It doesn't matter. 4 teammates are down from Acer. Kianda and Blinks are going to weather the storm from these Vikings, as we got the DPS from Airho and Trummel going in for the kill.
Yeah, indeed. Complexity not even caring about that Grave Golem. Just taking a fight absolutely several levels up. Just no problem for them. And now they're just once again going for that core. And we'll see if they'll be able to take it down here. It's looking like this is the end for Acer in this game.
It's almost like Complexity has a Tyrande on their team. I mean, they're able to blow her up so very quickly. It's a big testament to not only the Vala, but the Jaina on the back of that as well. It's just such great collapse potential on top of some of those squishies. And the Rhaegar heals with that timer, you gotta be super on point with them. And unfortunately, just so many Ancestrals missed out this round.
Yeah, indeed. Ancestral, one of the most important abilities on the team of Acer there. Definitely missing out its mark on several of the heroes of Acer in that game. But I think the story of this game comes down to the draft. I just feel that Complexity has such a superior drafting strategy, and I feel that they just outdrafted very, very hard in that game.
I mean, we talked a little bit about Complexity and that Illidan ban, but the Zeratul ban from Acer just